I've played more than 500 hours of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so I've tried every weapon in the game, and I want to tell you the best ones and also how to get them, starting with early game and then slowly going to more late game items. Let's start with the Sepulchre Axe that ignites your weapon on critical hits, so you won't need the adrenaline that is required for the Fire Strike ability. Really nice. You find this weapon in a gear chest over here on the map in Leicestershire that you can get to very early on. A bow that I've used throughout a lot of the game is the Viper bow that you can just buy from a merchant. If you with this weapon continuously hit an enemy, your crit chance will increase, so you will see those yellow numbers appear more often. It's a really great damage bow, but if you prefer hunting bows, then totally buy the Death Speaker bow, also at a merchant, as this gives you 25% health back on a weak point hit, which can be really nice. Although even better to get health back is the Brighten Shield, because this gives you a 15% health back on a parry, which is even easier to pull off. So a great shield to get, and you can pick it up during the London story arc in England that will eventually open up. If you just follow the main story, then you will find a gear chest, open it for this amazing shield. Before that though, you are doing the Grantebridge story arc really early on, and if you finish that, you will end up with the Bloodwolf shield that has a chance to ignite your weapon on a parry. So again, another way to get a powerful flaming weapon without spending the adrenaline. If you have a Ubisoft Connect account and go to that section of the game and then also have some tokens that you earn by doing these special Ubisoft Connect challenges, they can already pick up some amazing weapons in Valhalla as well. Now there are many of them and they again cost quite a lot of these tokens, so I will tell you which one are worth it. Like the Eclipse is amazing, not only because it unlocks a brand new weapon type that you otherwise cannot find in the main game, it's exclusive to the Siege of Paris DLC, so that already makes it worth it, but also because of the perk that increases your crit chance until you do a crit, which will then happen pretty quickly. And Basm's Sword is another amazing weapon you want to get. It's namely one of the best regular swords in the game, thanks to the increased attack you get after a parry and the increased speed after a dodge. So you can easily trigger these perks, have them like active at the same time. It's really nice. So the short sword was also a weapon type that was first exclusive to the Siege of Paris DLC, but you can now also get a second one if you don't have that expansion from any merchant after completing the Gloucestershire arc. After that point in the main story, every vendor in the game will namely sell new weapons that were part of festivals that are not in the game anymore, and especially great are the Blade of Golden Rays, as then after an ability, so something like Vengeance of Thor, you deal guaranteed crits for 6 seconds with a 10-second cooldown. The Vernal Bow is great too, as then every 10 seconds you can get an adrenaline bar back after simply hitting an enemy with a headshot, so that you can use your ranged abilities more often. It's a pretty large bow as well, I like using this one. But because silver is pretty easy to come by, I would recommend that you just get everything from this shop after finishing that Gloucestershire arc, which is like midway through the game. If you are low on money though, then totally focus on getting the two I highlighted, and the Hell Sight for the extra fire build-up is also great. Got way more weapons to go over, including some very special ones. Of course, if you liked the video so far, leaving a like would be awesome, and subscribe for everything Assassin's Creed if you haven't already. So in the base game, the Spinning Death Flail is also great because a heavy attack finisher has a chance to drop a very powerful fire bomb on the ground. You find that one over here on the map in the trade post in Jorvik. I wanted to highlight at least one heavy shield as well. The Sarcophagus shield is great because on a parry you have a chance to create this small fire around you. So totally the best heavy shield you want to use in the base game, and you find it over here on the map by opening a gear chest. And by completing the Sovsek story arc, you get one of the best daggers in the game, the Copis, as this gives you 10% health back on a crit, so that totally adds up over time, and it's really nice to use this one in the offhand for the very rapid left-hand attack. But the best weapon combo in the game, without a doubt, are two spears. And you can get an amazing spear in the Isle of Skye over here on the map after getting a key in the camp very close by. It's a spear of Leonidas, an amazing all-arounder in terms of stats, and I think it looks really cool too with that glow. So to get to the Isle of Skye, you need to have your settlement at level 4, and you need to have built the Seer's Hut. Then a mission called a Distorted Dream will show up, and this lets you reach the island, and they can get this amazing item. And if you then pair it with the Gungnir Spear, you are really unstoppable. This has an extended range, and again, two spears just completely wrecks in this game. So you get it late into the game after completing the Horja Vilke story arc that you will eventually get to. Then, after completing that, go to this cave over here on the map in Norway, and they can grab it as easy as that. Although again, you have to be very far into the game before you can see the spear and pick it up. One of the best weapons has been added to the game long after release, the Blazing Sword, that when you lock onto a target sends out these powerful projectiles. It's a really unique weapon and really powerful. So to get it, you need to complete the Tombs of the Fallen activity that you start by going to the shipyard in your settlement. So looks like this, and then you will see a nearby tomb over here on the map. Now you want to go to the different tombs in England, complete the puzzles and find all the artifacts in the tombs that you can find at the end, and then you will eventually get the sword. But if you need help, I left a link to my full guide in the video description, so totally check that video out for a more in-depth explanation. And while doing the Tombs of the Fallen, you also find the Fallen Hero armor set. Equip the set and the sword and you will be able to send out 10 projectiles instead of 5. So a really great combination. The other two easy weapons are also amazing, like Mjolnir, that has a random chance to do the shock effect that also triggers on a finisher. Doesn't only look cool, but is really strong as well. And you have the Excalibur as well, that can blind enemies on a heavy finisher or critical hits, which will then stun them for a brief moment. Also, in-depth videos on how to get these amazing weapons, as they require some extra steps, can be found in the video description. After doing your first story arc in England, you will also get access to Reda, where you can buy special items that are part of the Helix store. Only now you will need Opal that you can get by doing the weekly and daily challenges that Reda has for you as well. And you have to be lucky here, but there can be some powerful items for sale, and there are a few that are worth keeping an eye out for. The Sword of Damocles is absolutely insane, as after a parry, swords will rain down, and then in this area you will deal 20% more damage to enemies. The enemies will also deal 20% more damage to you, but if you got it under control, then it's really powerful. The Feather Light Bow is also amazing, as after a few hits, these light beams can rain down on enemies, and as you can see, it completely wrecks them, it burns them. It's really cool. Not really a weapon, but two items from the Tyrannus set will make you insanely strong as well, as it adds this shock effect to your fist if you unequip both weapons. And it's really up there with some of the best damage you can do in this game. Again, you only need to equip 2 pieces of this armor set, so it's totally worth keeping an eye out for those. And there's, by the way, also this weekly free item you can get in the store, which also gives you a chance to get one of the Helix items. So totally use this every week as well. Now, if you do own any of the expansions, there are a few items that are also worth talking about, with Totally the Gay Bollock as the highlight. Like this top 3 best weapons in Valhalla for sure. Again, spears are already insane, but with this weapon, you also, after 3 consecutive hits, have this lightning appear that deals damage and stun damage, getting the enemies on their knees faster. It's completely broken, and you can get it in the Wrath of the Druids DLC, and also this kind of requires like an in-depth explanation, so a video for the weapon is in the video description. I also want to give a quick shout out to the Ceremonial Sickle in that DLC, as using the offhand attack with these sickles is really strong, and that this one increases the speed, which is nice. So you find this in a gear chest, which over here in Ireland in that DLC. If you got the Dawn of Ragnarok expansion, then in the arena in that new region that you get to explore, which is over here on the map, you can buy the best bow in the game that on a fully charged headshot gives you adrenaline back. But the best part is that you also get adrenaline back after using an ability, meaning that you can just spam abilities, as there's also no cooldown on the effect of the bow either. But yeah, this really end game, as next to having the DLC, you also need to be power level 340 before going to Sword of Heim. So yeah, that is quite late into the game. Of course, subscribe for way more Assassin's Creed Valhalla content. I hope this helped you out. A like would really help me out, and check out my other Valhalla video with way more tips and tricks by clicking on the screen. I'll speak to you very soon. Goodbye.